Negative or biased media representations in the news, on television, or in movies can reinforce prejudice and shape people's attitudes toward immigrant or minority groups. Fear of the unknown and in-group bias, a natural inclination to favor one's own group, can lead to suspicion and fear of outsiders. What are different types of xenophobia? Number 1, cultural xenophobia. This involves rejecting or showing open hostility toward the customs, traditions, and symbols associated with other groups or nationalities. 2, immigrant xenophobia, directed specifically at individuals who are immigrants or perceived as not belonging to the dominant racial society, leading to their exclusion and potential persecution. So how do we address xenophobia? We need to promote education and cultural exchange. We need to learn about diverse cultures, find positive interactions, learn about positive stereotypes, reduce prejudice. We need to challenge hate speech and discrimination that fuels the fires of xenophobia. We need to speak out against xenophobic comments and behaviors. We need to hold political leaders and people in positions of authority accountable when they use racial slurs. We just need to stop electing them is what we need to do. Support targeted communities. We need to offer support and solidarity to individuals and groups facing xenophobia. We need to start becoming xenophobic, the opposite of xenophobic. We need to start being inclusive allies. We need to advocate for inclusive policies in legislature and in policies for public businesses and public school systems. We need to support policies that promote inclusivity and protect the rights of minority groups. In summary, xenophobia is harmful and divisive with significant consequences for individuals and our societies. Understanding its nature, causes, and impacts is a crucial step toward fostering more inclusive and equitable communities. So how does this impact America? Well, in case people have been living under a rock for the past 5 months, you probably have heard of ICE raids, where Trump tries to villainize people that aren't white or the elite of our society. Over 200,000 people have been arrested by ICE without due process, without warrants. Even if someone is here without documentation, they still have rights. They should not be arrested without a warrant. They should be given access to lawyers, which is not happening. ICE goes out of their way to silence the people they arrest and to keep distance between lawyers and accused illegal immigrants. We need to stop saying that being in our country is illegal when, if it's your first time being here undocumented, it is not illegal. You're not a criminal for being here in a country without documentation. Most of these people who are in the country without proper documentation boost the economy. We're heading toward a recession because when you remove 250,000 workers, there is no way our society can cope with the loss of this massive amount of workers. Just poof, they're gone. Businesses will suffer, prices will go up. I can just imagine how much a hamburger at McDonald's is going to cost once the recession hits. A lot of businesses have already gone out of business because they can't compete. They can't pay Americans what they pay undocumented immigrants. Human rights violations. When you arrest people without warrants, without access to lawyers, people don't know how to defend themselves. Some people that are arrested have no clue that they have rights. Everyone should be documented for their own protection. when you're not documented and when you're not here legally, workers face employment abuse. They can be targeted, misused. Employers don't have to follow the law if they hire illegal immigrants. Everyone should be documented so they have equal rights and employment protections. If you're not a legal citizen with documentation, employers don't and aren't required to offer employment safety. These people are at the mercy of their employers. So being a documented citizen is as much for the workers' protection as it is everyone's safety. If the rare undocumented immigrant commits a crime, if somebody is not a documented person, employers are less likely to do background checks or to take steps to protect the other workers. They may or may not be paying the undocumented aliens a fair legal required wage. So being a documented U.S. citizen is for everyone's protection, but much more so for the people who could be taken advantage of due to not having legal resources. And it's not just about undocumented immigrants. What about people that are here with documents? They came here legally. They were born here. When you grow up with the mindset that there are different levels to being an American based on how long you've been here, your race, how much you bring to the table, how much you boost the economy, and how much assets you have, you create a caste system where if you don't look, talk, or behave like a stereotypical American, then you must be a criminal. Even though the majority of people who get arrested are white, straight, and look like the stereotypical Americans. That's funny. And we need to start teaching kids consistently that if you're white, that being white is not stereotypically American. Americans are a spectrum of backgrounds,